What is going on, everybody? This is episode 830 of Pop Culture Crisis. My name is Brett, and I'm here with my co-host. Introduce yourself, please.
Hello, crisis actors. It's Mary. Please bear with us as we are still working out the kinks of setting up our simulcast on Rumble. I want to check on our follower count, though, because I'm obsessed with clout. So let me check how many followers we have since yesterday. We ended the stream at like 186 followers.
Yes.
Now we're at 497.
Let's go.
On the real account.
Let's go.
Meanwhile, the fake account is over 100, but it's fine.
Yeah.
Look for the green check mark, please, when you go to follow us on Rumble.
Yeah.
Because there is an imposter.
Speaking of clout.
Yeah. They're trying to get free clout off of us. And we're trying to get free clout off of you.
Exactly. So, guys, again, hit the like button on this video. Subscribe to the channel if you are new here, whether you're watching on YouTube, whether you're watching on Rumble. Subscribe to the channel and share the video with your friends, your family, your loved ones, everybody that you know. The more people that you share the content with, the faster this channel can grow. So thank you guys so much for that. We got a bunch of stuff to get into today. But before we do that, we got a 20 there.
Yes, we do. From Value in You. Mary, could we please get a future POV style video? Mary's Cinco de Mayo car trouble, realizing it's the 5th, sauntering, staggering back to the shop, dropping the flask, chicken jockey. It would be timeless. You know, if I had a film crew, like, that would be a short film.
What I imagine
like,
is
that would be a feature project.
Was the chicken jockey just like kind of the icing on the cake?
That
like,
was
is this
insane.
real life?
Yeah, this other customer walked in with his like 8-year-old son, and he's running around saying chicken jockey, and I was like literally not even seeing straight. Like, I was seeing double at that point.
Yep.
And dropped my Stanley so damn loudly.
It's always
on the
so
ground.
loud when you do that,
It was
right?
so loud, and I felt like everyone can tell, can't they?
I've done that here where I've dropped like a water bottle in like the kitchen area of here, and it just echoes throughout the.
Well,
you
plastic
just know
isn't so bad, but this thing is heavy.
Yeah, knock someone out.
And it's made of metal, and it's hitting the concrete so loudly. I was looking around like, does anyone know that I'm drunk right now?
Well, luckily you sobered up.
For context, in case you missed yesterday's episode and the story I told, it was the reason why we ended up not on air on Monday. And it was because I had a catastrophe occur with my car, and I was drinking while they were working on my car to cope with that.
Yeah, it happens.
It happens to the best of us. Or does it? It really is.
Life
just
hack is like, look, my car was actually in the shop as well on Monday, but I took my fiance's car into work. So life hack.
Have a fiance and steal their car. Actually, that kind of brings me to full circle moment with the AI song that says Mary's gonna steal your car, because that really would have come in handy.
Yeah.
In that moment, I would have stolen a car.
Figure out how to use a Slim Jim and get in. And most of the cars don't even have a way of getting into a car that way anymore. In fact, that's one of my things I hate in movies. So I hate bad cell phone acting. I hate bad fake lock picking, and I hate bad Slim Jim on a car that has electronic locks and can't be opened that way.
What's the bad cell phone acting?
When you know they're not so early.
When they don't say bye?
No. Oh, I love that. I love that, and when people answer with just their name. Dasovic. Like
you should start doing that.
No, I hate so early in the early days of smartphones, when people would cell phone act, right? They would pick up their phone and the lock screen would be visible, or the phone would be open while they're talking, and you'd be able to see that it is very clearly not.
But these days, I don't know if this was the case back then, but these days, if you're on a phone call, you can actually go to your home screen and continue.
Well, yeah,
the
but
call.
still, the second you put it to your ear, it turns off. The screen goes dark, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
The screen goes dark when you do that.
Yeah, right.
So bad cell phone acting.
I always have it on
hate it.
speaker, though, personally.
Oh, that's
not
even
in
worse.
public.
Okay, all right. That's even worse, though.
At home, I have it on speaker, and otherwise, I'm putting in my earbuds.
Yeah, earbuds for me most of the time.
But I don't put it next to my face because people say it'll make you break out.
I did see a meme. I did see a meme the other day that I found to be pretty, like a video that was pretty like me, which is a guy who's like, when somebody calls you back after you called them while you're driving and your allotted time for phone calls is up, I only prefer to talk on the phone while I'm driving.
Weird.
At home,
I can't handle having a phone call while I'm driving.
well, I'm on my like earbud. Like I'm not holding the phone or anything, but I just like if I'm on the phone at home, I pace. I can't sit in one place and be on the phone.
I'm not like that. But for me, being on the phone while I'm driving is too distracting, even if I'm not holding the phone. So I have to wait.
Ethan Miller in the chat says cars can still be opened with a Slim Jim. By the way, no one is safe. I don't know how. It's like it doesn't. I don't imagine that's where how the lock works. But apparently I'm wrong. I don't care. Still bad cell phone acting, bad fake lock picking when they picked a lock in 2 seconds.
I've locked my keys in my car more times than I can actually count.
Shouldn't be doing that.
Like I legitimately lost count at a certain point. It was getting to that level of stupidity, but I've put those days behind me.
Oh, it's okay. Guys, what are we getting into today? We've got a bunch of stuff. We are going to talk about Pamela Anderson, who in the last, I guess, year or two has kind of become sort of an activist for aging gracefully, would be the way I would put it. Does that sound right?
Yeah, she is known for showing up to red carpet occasions without makeup or with minimal makeup, and it's because she's put thought into the statement it makes, which Brett doesn't like.
No. I'm fine with that. But then when you get pushback, you don't get to cower behind your activism and say it's just because I'm aging gracefully. There's a difference between being cool with just going out without makeup on and choosing to go to galas without makeup on, which is a socio-political decision in and of itself. That's all I'm saying, though the articles that were written about her were very mean-spirited. Yes. And I wouldn't necessarily say you should go that far, but I do think that you're ripe for pushback when you make something like this your cause. So we'll talk about that. Also, Jenna Ortega fancies herself a cinephile, a true artisan of the business. She's making a brand new movie with David O. Russell, who's got all sorts of weird allegations against him, past, present, and future. And so she is now roundly being canceled once again, which we just covered recently, and everybody loved that video. So we're going to talk about that. We are also going to talk about the new announcement of the doomed 10 Things I Hate About You universe. The 10 Things I Hate About universe. The 10 Things I Hate About universe. So they're making like 10 Things I Hate About Dating and 10 Things I Hate About Kids, right on brand for Hollywood.
10 Things I Hate About Marriage.
I don't know how they're going to do that when Heath Ledger has long since passed and Julia Stiles, I'm sure she's busy doing something. Maybe.
I don't know what she's doing with her career these days, actually.
The article talks about it. They're gonna get new actors. Frankly, I don't want to see what a feminist character like Kat Stratford has done in today's day and age. It was already heavy-handed in a clever and fun way in the 1999 film. I don't know how the hell they're gonna do it. I think it was 1999. I don't know how the hell they're going to do it now without making the character really annoying. But I don't want to hear about Sylvia Plath. I don't want to hear about the bell jar. I don't want to hear about any of that crap.
Well, then if you updated it for modern audiences, the current day Kat Stratford would be a trad wife influencer.
No. A current day one would just be a fourth wave feminist rather than a third wave feminist.
Was it third wave back then?
You know what they'll do? No, we'll get into it.
She was already on second wave, but not yet third.
I
don't know.
Okay, we'll get into it. We'll talk about it. We got that. We got a bunch of other stuff. Mary, if you're ready, we'll just go. Are you ready?
Yeah, let's go.
Let's get started then.
Female rapper Doechii is relatively new to the scene. Most of the mainstream knows her for her song Anxiety, which is absolutely atrocious. It samples somebody that I used to know. And that's most of her claim to fame as things stand currently. Her presence at the 2025 Met Gala was more a commentary on the downfall of the Met Gala than a commentary on her current rise to fame. But she showed up and stayed on theme with Superfine, a tribute to Black dandyism. But before she arrived at the event, she was adamant that she did not want paparazzi to capture any photos of her outfit. She wanted it to debut solely on the red carpet for the press who were at the event.
We know the real reason for that. She didn't want to get caught mistreating her employees.
So her decision was to enter the event in what looks like a big panel of shower curtains or something. And she insisted that her assistants procure umbrellas to shade the top of this 4-panel enclosement.
Should we try and watch this video?
Yeah.
Is it show up in the video?
Yes, you can see her in this little enclosure in the video. Oh. They're all hiding her, and she starts screaming at her staff. Play it with sound. You gotta hear her.
I need another one. Another umbrella.
Me when I'm going to take a shower.
She says, "I need more fucking umbrellas."
Was it more or 4?
More.
I mean, if it's not raining out, just asking for a single umbrella is a hell of a thing to just request out of nowhere. There's a 20 there.
Let me see. This is from Todd Bernal. Don't forget bad coffee, drinking, acting. You can totally tell when the cup is empty. So annoying.
It is one of those things that they do on NCIS where Gibbs's coffee cup always seems just kind of empty.
And just put water in it. Yeah. You know, not that hard.
All right. Let's continue with this absolute mistreatment of the peasants.
Right there. Three more umbrellas. I'm so ready. This is umbrellas. Umbrella. Anybody? Right there. Three more umbrellas.
They said no. They said the lobby would be clear. And do not let that one on
I mean, do you think anybody who watches or who does something like this doesn't like reevaluate whether they've kind of just gone off the deep end as far as like where their life? You know, it's kind of like what I was saying earlier. It's like, you might be wondering how I got here.
You mean the assistant?
No, I mean both. Really, her and the assistant. She's thinking like, I used to make music. I used to be an artist. Now I'm dragging myself with umbrellas through the Met Gala. Or you're the assistant. You're like, I went to Oxford.
These days, being an artist is merely the means to an end, and the end is getting to act like this.
Yeah.
So let's continue.
Well, you think that's the whole point? They're like, I want to get famous so that I can be a dick to everybody?
A lot of them, yeah. Okay. She has no talent, so... So this is so that the paparazzi cannot crane over her enclosure and get photos from the top of it.
Okay.
See, it wasn't even raining. It was only because of the paparazzi. And she's still yelling at them in the video.
The self-importance is insane.
Yep. So that was her on the way to the car and into the event. Celebrities that have been famous for 5 minutes having nasty attitudes to service workers or assistants will always leave a bad taste in my mouth about them.
I mean, in general, gentlemen, if you ever go on a first date, one of the best ways that you can show yourself to be a possibly good companion is to not treat waiters and waitresses like absolute garbage. You shouldn't do that ever. But in general, it's probably one of the easiest ways for a person who doesn't know you very well to see how you treat other people.
No, I mean, I always say, if you're having a bad day, don't take it out on a service worker. Take it out on the people you love, like the rest of us.
Like a well-adjusted person.
Dangerously close to the truth there. Another one said she has such a nasty attitude for someone who went mainstream 3 months ago. Yeah, now she thinks that she's hot shit and she can treat people however she wants and get away with it. But I also saw some people defending this behavior.
What were they saying? You just don't get it. It's art. You don't get it.
It's not even performance art. They say this is just excusable behavior. If this was a white or biracial woman, everyone would be calling her a diva, mother. Y'all are so bogus for this fake-ass performative outrage.
Okay, what you're looking at there is friendly fire, because no normal person would ever call them that. We would just call them like lame, out-of-touch scumbags.
Yeah, all of those people calling her mother.
Anybody saying mother
delusional.
is terminally online in a stan.
Another one said, women are never given the benefit of the doubt of being human, especially when they're a part of another minority, such as Doechii or Chapel Roan. People expect them to be perfect, and if they're not, then they immediately stereotype them as mean. When you are cursing out people who are essentially at your mercy for their employment, I can confidently say you are a mean person.
This is the most human thing I've ever seen in my
This
entire
is
life.
This is not being a normal human being.
This is so relatable. Holy crap.
And
I just see myself in this.
The entire point of a stunt like this is to seem as out of touch as possible. if the Met Gala hadn't gone far enough in that regard. People getting up in costumes, everyone makes the Hunger Games capital comparisons for a reason. They're out of touch.
I say they look like Gotham City. I say they look like Batman villains.
But Doechii just took it to a whole nother level.
Yep.
Some people thought that this was actually scripted and staged. One of her fans said, I feel like this is a performance that all the assistants are a part of. It feels like a very Doechii thing to do, especially with the way that one assistant was dramatically searching for umbrellas. I could be wrong, but Doechii is a theater kid at heart.
They're all theater kids at heart.
Regardless of whether it was real or staged, you still look equally stupid and detached from reality.
Yeah.
Like, if you're staging this, you are trying to spread the narrative that you're an entitled brat. Or, if you're not staging it, you just are an entitled brat.
Yeah.
There's no way out of this. This is a lose for everyone involved.
I just, I see it, and I do see a bunch of people. Like, the joke was always, like, that the theater, or not the theaters, the geeks, once they took over the world, were going to take it out on everybody else. Little did we know it was actually the theater kids that once once acting was no longer something that you scoffed at, you know, like you scoff at a court jester. Now that acting is something to be seen as like something you actually want to do, they get to take it out on the rest of the world.
Yeah, deeply resentful people with a chip on their shoulder. And all of that work just to shield paparazzi from seeing this ugly ass outfit.
Yeah.
That nobody liked.
It's just, it's not very great.
You can't see it in this photo, but if you go to close-ups of her face from the event, you can see they attached a prosthetic scar to her face in the shape of the Louis Vuitton logo to look like she had been branded. Branded on her face. That just seems kind of creepy to me. Like, maybe that's the point. It's art. I'm not media literate. I'm just an uncultured swine. I just don't get it. I'm not smart and elite enough to understand what they were going for.
Worse. I hate the people who talk about media literacy in movies enough. The idea of having to believe in media literacy for stupid art kids is way worse.
Some person literally commented she looks like a Batman villain.
There you go. I mean, they all kind of do.
And, you know, with all the people who did show up to the Met Gala, it's a big who? Like, I barely just learned who Doechii is, and my job is following pop culture.
Whenever I see people mention Lisa, I'm like, very bold of you to think that anybody knows who the that is.
Yeah, seriously.
Like, just because you capitalized all the letters doesn't mean that means shit to me.
And there's this yearly tradition at the Met Gala where a bunch of celebrities commune in the bathroom to take a mirror selfie. And it used to be the Kardashians. Not that I idolize the Kardashians, but it used to be like the big name A-list celebrities taking this selfie, and it was a big moment on social media the next day. But then this year, the celebrities communed in the bathroom for their mirror selfie, posted it, and I couldn't name a single person. You
just know, I'm with Kevin Brennan in the chat, like, you just know she just insults somebody. All you have to do to disarm her is be like, Doechii.
Yeah.
Like, just like you walked
set
into that one
up
with your name, Doechii.
We have a 20 from Weary Traveler. The chicken nuggets have returned to Taco Bell. The Bell sauce is the only acceptable sauce option.
What the hell is the Bell sauce?
They made a new one for the chicken nuggets, but there were like two others. I forget the name. Okay. But no one goes to Taco Bell for chicken nuggets. It's not.
That's weird.
That's not it.
I wouldn't do that.
Like, you can go plenty of other places that have chicken nuggets that I know are good.
Yeah.
I'm not going to Taco Bell for chicken nuggets.
I'm with you. All right, let's move on. There's many updates in the Blake Lively situation. One of them is icky. You don't want to hear about it.
Our suspicions have been confirmed. Taylor Swift is in fact getting subpoenaed to testify in the Justin Baldoni Blake Lively lawsuit. There were a lot of rumors as to whether or not this would happen. TMZ had asked Brian Friedman, Justin Baldoni's lawyer, if there were plans to subpoena Taylor Swift, and he remained tight-lipped about it, but it just happened last week, and Daily Mail reported on it exclusively. They say Taylor Swift has been dropped center stage into the mess and served a subpoena by Justin Baldoni's lawyers. After weeks of rumors that it was coming, the subpoena has been issued, compelling Taylor Swift to submit to an interview with Baldoni's lawyer, Brian Friedman, under oath. So this is a setup to put Taylor Swift and Blake Lively in a perjury trap. Taylor Swift has nothing to lose from this situation except for maybe reputation points. Blake Lively,
I mean, she
however,
could just write an album about it. Reputation 2 Electric
2.0.
Boogaloo.
Yeah. But Blake Lively has set herself up in a situation where if Taylor Swift testifies anything counterfactual to Blake Lively's story, it could perjure Blake Lively. So this is a dangerous situation for Blake. Brian Friedman, they say, is one of the most powerful and feared litigators in the entertainment industry, having represented actors and celebrities including Kevin Spacey, Kate Beckinsale, Julia Roberts, and Bella Thorne. A source said Taylor Swift has now been subpoenaed. Some other subpoenas are being sent this week. Some depositions are in the process now of being scheduled. People often push back and say they can't for various reasons, but you really cannot get out of it. And that's likely to be Taylor Swift's next step. I'm sure that she has a formidable legal team that's going to try to dismiss this attempt. But that's not all. Daily Mail revealed that Taylor Swift's boyfriend as well, Travis Kelce, will soon receive a subpoena of his own, as will Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds' friend Hugh Jackman, who of course was involved in the Deadpool and Wolverine scandal. So this is just a big boatload of bad news for Blake Lively and her team.
The Taylor Swift songs are going to be great. I saw somebody mention that in the chat. Not My Dragon. Somebody mentioned that. Somebody mentioned that in the chat.
Yeah.
I think that's what you should call it. Her
Well,
first...
the rumor that we covered last week was that Taylor Swift has cut off Blake Lively as a friend after finding out that she was, in fact, at fault for this entire scandal. There is a rumor, according to perhaps Brittany Mahomes, that Blake Lively actually made advances on Justin Baldoni while they were filming It Ends With Us, and that Justin Baldoni rebuffed her. And out of a revenge plot from either Blake or her husband, Ryan Reynolds, now they have attempted to destroy Justin Baldoni's career unsuccessfully. Yeah. There's another rumor that there was a standoff between Taylor Swift and Blake Lively to get invited to Gigi Hadid's birthday party, which occurred last week. She also unveiled her relationship with Bradley Cooper at the party. But the rumor has it...
Women love that stuff.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
When I saw that announcement, I'm like, Mary's going to love this.
When I saw the announcement, I was distracted by that delicious cake in the photo.
Yeah.
Gigi Hadid did not invite Blake Lively to her 30th birthday party last week, allegedly because of Taylor Swift. She had to choose between inviting Taylor or Blake because Taylor wants nothing to do with Blake anymore. So Gigi Hadid has officially cut off Blake Lively as well. So she's getting iced out by her former girl power friend group.
It's an empty dragon's den.
And here's another person who could possibly get a subpoena served to him, Bradley Cooper, Gigi Hadid's mans, who, if you didn't know, had a special mention in the credits of It Ends With Us.
For what?
It was never explained.
They're just like, I like that guy.
It was never explained why Bradley Cooper was in the acknowledgments for the movie, but it likely has to do with him seeing the final edit, which Justin Baldoni and his team at Wayfarer Studios did not get to see. The one that Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds worked on with the help of Taylor Swift's music video editors and possibly Bradley Cooper. So he could be served a subpoena as well.
Okay.
He could be served a subpoena, and he was in that small group of people who got to see the final cut of the movie, which wasn't theirs.
Yeah.
And now Justin Baldoni is floundering financially
Well,
in the middle of this battle.
That's the sad thing about it is, despite the fact that most people are kind of on his side, like capital-wise, all that Mint Mobile money is going to go a hell of a lot farther than, that Jane the Virgin money.
Look, I heard people are making a fortune on GoFundMe campaigns these days.
He could just go and call Blake Lively the N-word.
Call Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively the N-word, start a GoFundMe campaign, and you have free legal on retainer for life at that point. That's a tried and true scheme. But
the reason
I didn't even know
he's,
Justin Baldoni's Wayfarer Studios production company had a charity arm.
Yeah.
Which is something I've never heard of.
I mean,
for a production company.
That makes perfect sense, and then it goes for your tax write-offs at the end of the year.
I suppose so, but they had to shut down the Wayfarer Charity Foundation because money's getting tight.
Last to show, first to go.
Yeah. So it's an ugly situation, and even though there are a lot of inside sources claiming that Taylor Swift and Blake Lively are still cool with each other and they're still close, I do find that hard to believe. Like,
Just for the amount of headache that's been caused.
Exactly. If I were in Taylor Swift's shoes in this situation, I would be pissed at being involved in this scandal in any way, shape, or form and having my name dragged into it. Then, like, her boyfriend, Travis Kelce, is going to get subpoenaed? Like, what is this? How many private text messages could there possibly be to enlighten us about what happened here?
I did notice that they skipped the Met Gala.
Oh, yeah. Blake Lively has been at the Met Gala, like, every year for many years.
Given how much she loves to stand up in her women's summits and bloviate, I imagine that the Met Gala is, like, right up her alley.
Well, she's more known as, like, however you feel about this, a fashion icon.
Yeah.
I don't know if I agree with that. I've looked at Blake Lively's fashion over the years. I'm not the biggest fan, but she has been known as a fashion icon and having a super unique style. So
what does that even
her
mean
presence
in
at
that
the Met Gala was always, you know, highly anticipated, and she was on Anna Wintour's invite list. But maybe this year she was cut from the list. Who knows? Taylor Swift herself hasn't been to the Met Gala since 2016.
Yeah.
So not interested. Ariana Grande took a selfie bed rotting, saying like, "Ooh, I was busy. I couldn't make it this year. Oops."
Got better things to do.
Most of the actual celebrities who were above the level of like a Doechii felt like they had better ways to spend their night.
There was a bunch of them there. I saw Demi Moore was there. She's like relevant again these days.
She's having a renaissance.
She is. She was wearing like a, you know, those like yellow cancer ribbons? It looked like a yellow cancer ribbon going around the back of her neck.
It was bizarre. She was also holding it the entire time.
It was weird.
Maybe that part was like integrated into the outfit.
I guess I like hearing you talk about it as stupid because as a guy, anything like that is stupid. Like you see all these people dressed up.
The Met Gala?
Yeah.
Oh.
Like, you look at it and you're like, wow. Like it's the fundamental difference between, like let's look at like what some of the dudes were wearing, like what Walton Goggins is wearing. But
I don't remember what he was wearing.
I mean, it looked like he was wearing a Chinese food box, like a really thin. But the point being that like guys are like, why would you wear that? That looks terribly cumbersome and stupid.
But I'm always happy to
jump
down the rabbit hole and like really get into it.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense to
details.
me. But I guess them not showing up is kind of that's how you gauge where, because they've been on a media blitz lately. They've been everywhere.
Right.
Like,
planting a lot of headlines about her fashion as well. And it seems like Blake Lively's career is still active. The sequel to A Simple Favor just came out. So I think that's the next thing we should jump into. Blake Lively is getting torn apart for disturbing scenes in her recent movie, Another Simple Favor, which, if you didn't know, is a sequel to the comedy mystery A Simple Favor from 2018. Why there would be a 7-year gap between a streaming movie and its sequel, I have no idea. But it finally came out. She co-stars in it with Anna Kendrick. And I was shocked to find out that there are themes of a word we cannot say. Insist. Insisting is happening in this movie. I don't know how else to say it. The last time we tried to cover a topic like this, YouTube demoted us and shadow banned it. So
no, didn't even shadow ban it. Did not allow it to process.
We weren't even allowed
that was my fault. The thumbnail was untoward.
But at that time, when we were talking about White Lotus, I expressed frustration that Hollywood can continue pushing these disgusting, degenerate themes on the audience and not have any pushback whatsoever. They're allowed to have a platform, right? But when we want to just react to it and discuss it as members of that audience, we are actively censored in doing so. So I just think that's a ridiculous double standard. But we're going to get into Another Simple Favor and how they incorporated insist into the plot of this movie. So it's not just the sequel. The first movie, A Simple Favor, also had themes of incest, including Anna Kendrick's character. There is a scene in the first Simple Favor movie where Anna Kendrick is shown having full-on intercourse with a character who is later revealed to be, in the movie, her half-brother. So Blake Lively's character ridicules her for being a brother effer.
We all watched Clueless. It was a slippery slope.
Look, I am always willing to defend Clueless.
So am I, but it's a slippery slope.
I really wish that weren't the case, but it's starting to seem like Hollywood is putting a concerted effort into pushing this specific theme on audiences. Not only with the incest scenes in the recent season of White Lotus, which the showrunner Mike White openly defended, and he seemed to think were erotic, not disturbing. But also the themes that are in Another Simple Favor. And I was actually really surprised to see this headline in People magazine. After The White Lotus and now Another Simple Favor, is Hollywood taking incest storylines too far? Here's the subhead. As a Christian, I have felt increasingly uncomfortable with plot lines in The White Lotus and new comedy Another Simple Favor. So 2 things. It doesn't matter where you take incest, it's always too far.
Like, what is their idea? Like, be like, okay, break it down for me. Where is the not too far part of this storyline?
There's no part of an incest storyline that you can do in moderation. None of it. Just either none of it or where we're at now, which is just we're accepting this. And then secondly, I don't understand why you need to be Christian to object to this. I myself am a Christian, but I would never say I object to these incest storylines in new movies and TV shows just on the basis that I'm Christian. The vast majority, at least I would hope, of people in society today do not consider this acceptable, do not think of incest as excusable or funny or hot.
Reminded me of, I tweeted this the other day because I saw this. If you were Superman, which one would you make your girlfriend? One of these is not like the other.
I can't see it.
It's all manner of Lois Lane except for 2, which is Kara. It's his cousin.
Oh, gosh.
What are you doing?
Well, this is even
worse.
engagement
bait.
So let's get in the detail. Never did I anticipate writing a story about the rising inclusion of incest storylines in mainstream media. However, it needs to be talked about. As a Christian who works in media, such storylines aren't something I personally want to see across the content I consume. Once again, non-Christians feel the same way.
It's like some poor agnostic is like, bro,
hey,
you
wait a minute.
It's like, bro, I haven't heard The Calling, but that doesn't mean I have to want to watch that too. What are you talking about?
Of course, I recognize that we live in a world where incest occurs, but my objection is that in recent depictions of this taboo topic, it has been treated either as a punchline or a turn-on. I find both such depictions disturbing. And that is the crux of the issue, really. It would be one thing to depict incest or grape or a number of other things.
In a serious manner.
In a serious way, taking it seriously, depicting it as it realistically happens in the real world. But the way that they did it in both The White Lotus and Another Simple Favor was either as a joke or really more as an instrument to titillate the audience in a pornographic way. So I'm going to explain how this happened in Another Simple Favor, which is on Amazon. They're at this destination wedding. Blake Lively's character is getting married to a man who is secretly gay. That's another part of the story that we'll get to. But there is a murder that takes place at their festivities, leaving Anna Kendrick's character to wonder if she is being framed in a plot for revenge. Like its predecessor, Another Simple Favor is filled with many twists, including a disturbing incest plotline. So Blake Lively's character is named Emily, and she is one of 3 triplets. Emily's triplet, Charity, also played by Blake Lively, whom we are led to believe died in the womb, is found out to be very much alive, as their aunt Linda kidnapped her after helping deliver the 3 sisters. And on the day of Emily's wedding, Charity kidnaps her and drugs her to the point where her body is paralyzed. So then we come upon this scene. Repeatedly noting how they are one and need each other, Charity cuddles up to Emily and caresses her, telling her she's, quote, only ever going to make you feel good, so good, because it makes me feel good. At one point, Charity offers to show Emily how they can feel so good at the same time, leading to Charity appearing to slide her hand down Emily's underwear. Emily, and this is just two CGI, like Blake Lively's doing this double scene. Emily, unable to move, looks on in horror. Then Charity hops on top of her to kiss her. So then they cut in the middle of this scene to Emily, her character, explaining the story to Anna Kendrick's character, who says, so Charity is a sister effer? This is played as a joke.
Yeah.
This is played for laughs. None of this is considered like a disturbing scene where one character is getting incestually graped. I hate having to use these stupid terms, but like I have no other choice because we're being, you know, constantly detected by the algorithm. It's all played for laughs. And the way it was played in White Lotus was basically just as a turn on, as this writer said. And then another aspect of this is that Blake Lively's character is a beard for her husband. She marries a friend of hers who is gay so that he can continue having a secret relationship with his gay lover. And in return, she gets a lifestyle and money and fame. And some people believe that is a nod to Blake Lively's real life marriage.
Oh, yeah.
They believe that Blake Lively is Ryan Reynolds' beard and that he is secretly in a relationship with Hugh Jackman and that they're both secretly gay. That I find less easy to believe than the fact that Hollywood is pushing incest and other degenerate themes on audiences in order to normalize these things to us.
They love
so
it.
that over time we become desensitized, and the ultimate goal is to make these things socially acceptable.
Predictive programming.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And it starts with plot
It
lines.
starts with Paul Rudd in Clueless back in 1995.
I believe it starts with plot lines that are in pornography, which eventually trickle into storylines in major Hollywood projects. And that's the final conclusion that we're finally at.
Did anybody check to see if Blake Lively got stuck in a washing machine? I hope not.
I mean, unironically, that is from point A to point B how this happened, in my opinion. Especially when you look at what Mike White, the showrunner of White Lotus, has said about his decision to include these storylines in his show.
Yep.
He's saying that it's erotic and inoffensive and it makes sense for the context and it's just siblings bonding. Like, that's literally what he said. He said that in the show, one of the brothers is trying to bond with his other brother.
Yep. And
by doing so, they end up having a sexual encounter. And this is just what they expect us to see as normal mainstream entertainment now. I just refuse to let the lines blur.
I think part of one of the reasons why these types of things became more and more common is that before these storylines existed, they were kind of cordoned off and left on HBO and Cinemax and such. Now, because of the rise of streaming services, there is no censor looking to keep these storylines out of everything. So you can, it's not just HBO anymore. It's not just Showtime. It's not just Cinemax. It's Netflix. It's this was obviously the movie we're talking about here was an Amazon Prime movie. Then there's HBO Max, and there's all of these streaming services that give way to these types of stories because there's just way more market for it now.
Yep. And also the ultimate point here is that Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds clearly have a perverted sense of humor. And that is to put it lightly. Yeah. That's an understatement.
Yep. All right. Let's move on. What would you like to see? Cringe or cute of the day?
Let's see cringe first.
Okay. How bad is today? If you're new here, guys, Mary submits the cringe. Sometimes I'll submit a cringe, but usually I try to get her to rate her own cringe.
It's a Scientology cringe.
Oh, okay. Well, people were mad at you or us yesterday because of the Tom Cruise short, right?
Yeah, we were kind of making fun of Tom Cruise for acting a fool in an interview.
Look, I would never make fun of Tom Cruise.
We have a Tom Cruise stand in the studio.
I would never make fun of Tom Cruise. You guys know that.
Well, this is another well-known Scientologist in the cringe today.
All right. Here we go.
He is a famous entrepreneur.
Can you tell people why Papa's so good?
Because he's a millionaire and he knows Scientology.
Whoa, really? What does that have to do with anybody? You're just making stuff up. I help people, that's why.
Oh my God, that was sinister.
It's not because I'm a millionaire.
Because you know Scientology.
Yeah, Scientology has helped me a lot. She says because I studied Scientology, okay? It's amazing.
Hearing it referred to as studying is weird.
That's probably how he refers to it.
Even with the ology at the end of it, it's weird.
Actually, so since she brought it up, right? Dude, Scientology is responsible for at least 90% of my success that I'm having today. Can you tell people why Papa's so good?
Okay then.
Super weird.
That was very sinister.
Yeah, the way that he like cackled. So weird. Like,
it's responsible for 90% of my success.
Weirdo. Yeah.
Okay. Let's palate cleanser here. This one's from Whoa There, Buddy. Meet Buddy. His name's Buddy.
Hi, Buddy.
Buddy looks very regal almost.
It's a beautiful
Looks
picture.
tough. I like it. All right. Remember, guys, if you would like to have your pets featured on here and you would like to brag about your pets, please tag me on X in a post. Hashtag PCC Pets, and we will get them featured on here. Let's go ahead. Let's get started.
Yesterday, we recapped some of the best and worst looks, mostly worst looks, from the Met Gala 2025. And one of them that we went over was Pamela Anderson. And we didn't say very kind things about her styling choices. I thought that there were mistakes made. But it took me by surprise to see that she is getting roundly dragged by the media and commenters on social media alike for looking frumpy and old. And this is specifically from the Daily Mail. This headline sent me. Frumpy Pamela Anderson looks worlds away from Baywatch glory days in gray 2025 Met Gala gown.
Who the hell wrote this article? Did she like reject them for like on like did he like swipe right and
someone at Daily Mail has personal beef with
like,
Pam Anderson.
This feels personal to me.
Really though. And they are known for having a lot of tabloidy headlines. I like Daily Mail, but they take it too far sometimes. And I read into the article, there was nothing but complimentary statements after the headline. So it was really just clickbait.
What the hell is conservative about that haircut? It refers to it as a conservative new hairdo.
Yeah, I don't know.
Do conservative loves, what was your term? F-ass Bob?
It was the definition of a fuck-ass Bob.
Okay.
But Daily Mail even decided to delete their original tweet with the headline since they were getting so much pushback for it. But here was some of the tweets in response. Here was from Ryan James Gerdusky. Not to sound like a feminist, but famous women have to be allowed to age. She looks good for a woman of 57 and way better than if she was a puffy, Botox-injected Frankenstein creature. It is funny how you seemingly can't win. If you look like Madonna, obviously everyone is going to trash you because you look like a monster. But then if you decide to take the natural route, it seems like you will get trashed anyway. Another one said, she's stunning at 57 years old. Can we stop expecting women to look 23 their entire lives? Is anyone angry that George Clooney let his hair go gray or that Matt Damon no longer has a six-pack? Only women are expected to stay looking 25 while approaching 60.
Those pictures of George Clooney with the dyed hair that he dyed for a movie role were haunting.
Oh, they were terrible.
They were haunting.
He looked awful.
I saw that and I was like, I'm just gonna.
So it's the other way around. He actually got trashed for dyeing his hair.
I'm just letting it go gray.
Another one said, welcome back, early naughties body dysmorphia headlines. Sort of calling back to the days when an actress would put on a few pounds and they would call her a beached whale.
Yeah.
In the tabloid covers.
Unfortunately, not everybody can be Jennifer Beals and look like this at 60.
It's not a...
let me see if we can...
She's getting cropped out on screen.
Like, not everybody can look like Jennifer Beals at 60.
She's 60 years old.
Yeah.
In that photo?
Yeah.
That is wild. But some people are just gifted genetically. And you know what?
I bet you it's about stress. It's like get really
There's
good
that
at your
too.
craft, and it's like, okay, I'm getting regular roles, I'm working, I'm not overstressing, I'm
Yeah.
staying out of the sun.
There was a lot of that too, but I think most of it comes down to genetics and choosing not to go through invasive cosmetic procedures that will have consequences down the line. Another one said Pamela Anderson chose to not wear makeup anymore, wanting to look like her true self and having to face such stupid comments. Show some respect.
Okay.
So it is true that Pamela Anderson in recent years has opted for either very simplified makeup or no makeup at all on red carpets, which is a controversial decision, even though I feel like it shouldn't be. But you have thoughts.
No, my thought is simply like, if you make it a brand for yourself, if you start to turn something like that into a cause. Look, if you want to record your Instagram lives or your social media posts without makeup at home, right? That makes perfect sense to me. But intentionally going into a situation where everybody puts makeup on and gets dressed up and choosing not to do that invites criticism because you're breaking from the mold. You don't get to have all of the positive things said about your brave stance against age, the criticization of women and aging, and not get any of the pushback. That's all I'm saying, is that you made it your thing. Now that it's your thing, you get both the good and the bad. All of the positively radiant articles that talk about it should be enough to keep her warm at night. And the few that call it out and are maybe mean, and these articles were mean-spirited, don't get me wrong, it certainly was not done in a kind or a polite way. I would hope that you get some semblance of proportion. Look, a lot of people have a lot of nice things to say about me. A lot of people have taken to this topic now so that we can, what do they always say? We need to start a discussion. Start a discussion about, in this case, I guess it's women and aging. You've now started a discussion. Now you take the good and you deal with the crappy ones. That doesn't mean that this headline was in any way nice. It was very rude.
Well, to be fair to Pamela Anderson, she hasn't personally responded to any of the discourse.
Yeah.
So what are you exactly clapping back at?
No, I'm not clapping back at her. I'm clapping back at the people who are coming to her defense.
Okay.
That the people talking about, we need to let women age gracefully. Well, she's doing that. Okay. But she's also made it part of her brand. So people are going to have a discussion. It's not always going to be a discussion she likes.
Well, I guess the point that they're trying to make is that her not wearing extreme amounts of makeup on a red carpet shouldn't be a thing in the first place. It doesn't need to be the subject of academic debate. But I almost want to push back on that point of view as well, because makeup and hair and jewelry and all the rest of these accoutrements are part of fashion as well. And it's almost like showing up to the red carpet wearing a t-shirt and jeans when you know that it doesn't befit the occasion. It doesn't fit the expected dress code.
Yeah.
One of the biggest mistakes she made was wearing this weird-ass haircut. Microbangs don't look good on anyone, no matter how old you are, but they especially are not flattering to a woman of her age.
Remember the picture of Courtney Cox in Scream 3 with the awful bangs?
No microbangs, never microbangs. The answer is never microbangs for anyone. They look bad on literally everyone. There are some people who can maybe pull it off, but it never makes you look better than you did before the microbangs. So that was her first mistake. I don't think that the dress looked good either. She looks like a Christmas tree from the 1960s.
She does.
The dress was a miss. I feel like if she styled her hair right and she had an outfit that didn't look so ridiculous, no one would have said anything. Maybe a few people,
Look,
but it wouldn't have been as loud.
I have no opinions on what she's wearing because I don't know. She looks like she gathered a bunch of gemstones on a beach and then plastered them all over.
It was
her
actually
dress.
recycled diamonds, you said. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
But, the problem here is kind of everything surrounding her face. Because otherwise, any of us would be lucky to age as gracefully as Pamela Anderson has. She looks incredible for her age. That's just an objective fact. Like, indisputable. So, personally, I would love to look like Pamela Anderson at 57.
They actually wrote an article about Courtney Cox's hair in Scream 3. That's
Was
how
it
bad
that
it was.
famously bad?
Yeah.
It is really bad, isn't it?
If you ever feel like crap, just remember Courtney Cox's hair in Scream 3.
It can microbangs can make anyone look ugly.
David Arquette, that was her husband, says she takes full responsibility for her hairdo. It was his fault.
So this wasn't even for her character? That's
No,
just...
it was her. I mean, it was her. They were both in that movie together.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they met on. So from what I understand, they met on Scream 1, got married before Scream 2, and then were divorced when Scream 3 or Scream 4 came out, or something in that realm. There, I'm getting the dates wrong there, but yeah, they were married for a long time.
To get microbangs for a role is quite a commitment to your
She's
craft.
like, look, I like you, Wes, but even a Wes Craven horror movie does not denote microbangs.
I do think that Pamela Anderson, if she's making a statement at all, it's a good statement, and it's that you don't need to inject your face with corpse fat, botulism, or any other insane toxic substances to try and fail to look young forever.
I feel like
It's
for her,
an empty pursuit.
I feel like for her, given the fact that she was such a significant image of what American culture considered beauty in the 90s, that I'll give her this, which is like, you were held in such high regard for your beauty that taking a stand against aging almost makes sense, I guess, because otherwise it would just be people kind of judging her for not being able to look 20 forever.
Like, oh, this is so desperate.
Yeah.
She's so full of Botox. Da da da.
I get the impulse to kind of find a way to push back in your own way.
Yeah.
Even if I, think that means you should also welcome the criticism as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Well, with that, we should go to Super Chats.
Do it. Here we go. Hold, please.
Thank you, guys. I wanted to let you know, though, you have a piece of glitter in your hair. Do you see it?
Nope.
It's on your left. I don't know. Maybe you just buried it deeper.
Yep.
But there's a piece of glitter in your hair.
Well, I don't know what that means.
Things got crazy at the club last night.
Ugh.
Shane H. Wilder said, "Happy Wednesday, Brett and Mary. First day of the conclave and staring at a chimney. I did create a dramatic reenactment of why there was no Monday show. It probably makes me look like an idiot, but thank you. The conclave has begun, and I saw this headline that was absolutely horrifying, that actual real-life cardinals are watching the movie Conclave
I saw that.
to figure out how to conduct a conclave.
They're like, look, I haven't done this in a while.
Have we not figured this out through all these years
When
of
was the
history?
last conclave?
That would have been 2013,
They're like, my gosh.
I believe.
Obama's second term. It's been forever. I'm gonna read a couple of these Rumble rants. So
Oh, yeah.
Cookie Don 15 says, "How can anyone talk about pop culture when there's a nuclear escalation in Kashmir?"
There is. Well, I guess that we're just...
Well, is that worse than a femicide in the Congo? I don't know. JTH Rock, or is it Throck? Could be Throck.
J. Throck.
J. Throck says, "I'm glad PCC is on Rumble. I hope you surpass yourselves on YouTube." Well, it is funny to look at like the two where like one's like 359,000 and the other one's sitting at 497.
Yeah, we only need to multiply it by like 10.
Yeah, we'll get there
You
one
know?
day. We'll get there one day. All right,
It'll
let's go
happen.
back to this to the super chats.
Shane H. Wilder said, "Side note, 200 away from the give, send, go goal for Mocha the Derp. Go help out. Don't do it for Brett. Do it for Olivia's derpy cat. Cue Arms of the Angels."
Yeah. Mocha was in the vet again today.
It's unfortunate.
It is. We love you, Mocha.
She
We do.
feeling well?
She seemed fine today, but she's got her hyperthyroidism, and she's got an infection. She's we love her, and we're gonna continue to get her checked out.
All right.
Gonna be okay. Let's do one more.
Red Snow said, went too hard at the concert yesterday. Mary didn't steal my car, but I did lose the $40 shirt I bought. Too bad, so sad. Well, I mean, all we told you to do was not get blown up in a terror attack. So you accomplished that. We're glad you survived and you're back.
All right, let's hold off on the rest and we'll come back after. Let's talk about Jenna Ortega. She is once again back in the news.
Yeah, Jenna Ortega is embroiled in yet another controversy about who she is working with in Hollywood. It was just announced that her next upcoming film project is directed by controversial David O. Russell, who we have last talked about when Amsterdam came out. She's co-starring in this new movie called Shutout alongside Robert De Niro. They say the film follows a pool master who finds a young prodigy who he begins to train in the game of pool. The description for this just made me laugh. One of the last masters of a vanishing craft, the pool hustler, is played by Robert De Niro. Jake Kiyun? I don't know how to pronounce it.
Okay.
Having lived and lost by the roll of a ball in smoky backroom halls, Jake encounters Mia, played by Jenna Ortega, a young prodigy whose raw, electrifying talent reignites a fire he thought long extinguished.
She's like The Rock, the most
Yeah.
She's the most electrifying woman in the pool hall.
Sensing a rare opportunity to shape a legend, Jake takes Mia under his wing, honing her instincts and sharpening her natural gift. Together, they plunge into the ruthless world of high-stakes pool, where the line between unimaginable fortune and devastating failure is razor-thin. As Mia's star ascends and her ambition grows, Jake must confront the ultimate question. Can he steer her to greatness, or will her hunger for victory eclipse everything he has taught her? Find out in 2026.
Yeah.
So this is directed by David O. Russell. And he has, I would say an understatement would be to say he has a weathered reputation in Hollywood. Countless allegations, some of varying levels of seriousness.
George Clooney, Lily Tomlin, Amy Adams are the three main actors.
Yeah.
And that's not even getting into David O. Russell's niece.
Now, I want to mention before we get into David O. Russell's allegations that Jenna Ortega has had controversies about working with the wrong people in the past already. Yep. Specifically, her co-star in the first season of Wednesday on Netflix, Percy Hines-White. He was one of the love interests for Wednesday Addams in the series. And after the first season came out, he got Me Too'd, and the nature of the allegations was incredibly dubious. I don't think there was any evidence ever presented for the allegations against him, and even the way that they were stated in the first place, they didn't seem that serious. So she, as now an executive producer on Wednesday, dissociated from him entirely. He's not going to be in the second season, which they're still in the process of working on right now, and he was completely booted. And Netflix has also just foregone any mention of his name, and they're acting like he never existed. He was roundly canceled for allegations that were never proven, and Jenna Ortega, I have to admit, kind of threw him under the bus for this. Now she's working with David O. Russell, a much older and more accomplished professional in their same industry,
And she's
who has
obsessed
more
with-
serious allegations.
But she's obsessed with being seen as an auteur.
An auteur, an artiste.
She's like, I'm not Millie
a
Bobby Brown. I
cinephile.
like movies.
Yeah, her reputation that she's trying to build is that she cares about making art and not Netflix slop. And she will put up with working with someone who's problematic for the sake of art.
She what if she reached out to Woody Allen?
But it's funny, when she's making her Netflix slop, which is Wednesday, and I like it. It's slop, but I like it.
Yeah.
Then she refuses to associate with someone who has been, accused of things that have zero evidence. It just seems like a double standard to me. She's going to work with a canceled person when it benefits her and not when it doesn't. So here were some of the responses. I'll never understand how actors or actresses can see the videos of David O. Russell throwing 5-year-old tantrums, physically assaulting his actors, and admitting to SAing his trans niece, and then saying to themselves, yeah, I want to work with him. Another tweet said Taylor Swift, Margot Robbie, and Zoe Saldana gave an abuser his directing career back. Never forget that. David O. Russell literally SA'd his niece. He harassed and attacked actors and crew members in all of his sets since the 2000s. I'm pretty sure his track record for having a temper is undisputed, but here was the allegation about his niece, who, if you're confused already, is biologically male and identifies as female. Yeah. This is a police report obtained by a media outlet called The Smoking Gun. It alleges that David O. Russell offered to help his niece with ab exercises, during which his hand, quote, hovered above, quote, her private parts. Then his niece says, after a chat about hormones used to increase breast size, David O. Russell slipped his hand under her shirt and felt both breasts. For his part, David O. Russell confirms that the incident happened, but told police that his niece was, quote, acting very provocative toward him and invited him to feel her breasts.
So it claims it was consensual.
He also admitted to being, quote, curious about the breast enhancement. He emphatically denies any wrongdoing and has cooperated fully with the authorities.
Technically admitting to what you did and then saying that it wasn't wrong are like diametrically opposed. Like, that makes no sense. You admitted to wrongdoing.
Well, if you ask a lot of people in Hollywood, as long as it's consensual, hey, who cares if it's incest? A little callback to what we were talking about earlier.
20 minutes ago.
Things being normalized, and people think, including David O. Russell, apparently, that if it's consensual between two consenting adults who just happen to be related, then it's fine. It's definitely not fine. And I guess he's so out of touch and drunk with power that he thinks he can just openly admit to these things and not face consequences, not be blacklisted. And that has turned out to be true, because now he has Robert De Niro and Jenna Ortega, a well-established star and an up-and-coming star, working with him, and they have no compunction about doing so. The other allegations are mostly about misconduct, which amounts to him being a massive jerk on set to his underlings. Verbal and physical abuse, which have resurfaced ahead of the release of Amsterdam back in 2022.
Yeah, we reviewed that.
We did.
Yep.
So an email leaked during the Sony Pictures hack back in 2016, alleging that David O. Russell had abused Amy Adams on the set of American Hustle, causing her to cry and become devastated on set. Christian Bale, who also starred in American Hustle, recalled that David O. Russell's behavior on the film led him to step in as a mediator to defend Adams. He stated that he would continue working with David O. Russell despite the allegations. And his behavior has been a recurring issue throughout his career. In 1999, during the production of Three Kings, George Clooney witnessed David O. Russell assault an extra who was nervous about performing a stunt, leading to a physical altercation between David O. Russell and George Clooney. Despite these controversies, David O. Russell has continued to receive support from industry figures and worked with A-list actors on subsequent projects. And that includes Amsterdam, that includes Shutout.
It's completely arbitrary who gets blacklisted and who doesn't. It's so weird.
Yeah, it feels like selective outrage, selective reporting, too. What the media decides is worth our attention, or what the media decides the public should be outraged about. Like Harvey Weinstein, for instance. Yeah. He was clearly the focal point of the Me Too movement, and then when you look into the details of the allegations against him, a lot of it is kind of hard to believe. And even if you are to believe the stories as they're told, they still seem like actresses who made a gamble with sexual exploits and didn't get the outcome for their careers that they wanted. But then you look at the well-documented, repeated behavior of someone like David O. Russell, and no one seems to bat an eye.
Yeah.
It's weird.
And Jenna Ortega has made like it is again. It's weird that the Percy Hines White stuff was never proven, certainly never admitted to, like David O. Russell admitted to.
No police report.
Well, he was
nothing.
a minor. He was like a teenager when these claims were made. And like it or not, nothing was ever proven in a court of law. But I think if I'm to judge why she chose that path, it's because the outcry against someone like Percy Hines White will be greater because it dials in on younger people who are going to have an issue with it and pay closer attention to it because it's a younger actor in the digital age. Whereas David O. Russell, the same people who are complaining about Percy Hines White are not paying attention, nor do they know who David O. Russell is.
Yeah, definitely different crowds of people. And maybe that just proves that Jenna Ortega is being a shrewd businesswoman, and she'll kind of step on a less established actor in order to get ahead. And she'll work with an established director who is a known freak show to get ahead as well. And then another puzzling detail is her stand in solidarity with Melissa Barrera after she got fired off of Scream 7 for her open takes about Palestine. Jenna Ortega at the time wanted us to believe that it was a scheduling conflict that made her step away from Scream 7, and then just openly admitted like a month ago that was a lie. She just actually went into an interview
I was
and
actually
like,
just
I lied.
I was just making that up.
I lied. I just didn't, she basically admitted that it was because she didn't like how Melissa Barrera was treated.
I mean, that's what they do at the CIA. They deny everything, and then 50 years later, a FOIA request comes through. Like, just kidding. We did that.
I'm waiting for the Jenna Ortega files.
We got a $20 Rumble rant here from Citizen Snips.
Thank you.
Says, good to see PCC on Rumble. Thank you guys for the countless hours of entertainment. Take some of my money. Well, we will. Thank you.
Thank you for your money.
It's purple on.
Yeah, they have a different color scheme on
they
Rumble.
do.
So I don't know what to make of this. Like, it seems Jenna Ortega is kind of losing favor with the Zoomer audience lately. Not only because she kind of looks different, like something changed in her face.
Yeah.
But also her behavior is questionable.
I think it is the bangs that the most. Like I was kind of giving her crap about it yesterday, but she looks completely fine. It's just she doesn't have the bangs anymore.
People underestimate the difference that eyebrows and bangs can make on
Are
your
you
face.
ever going to not have bangs?
Well, this is like kind of a recent thing for me. I never thought that I was going to have bangs.
Now
and
you
then
just kind of.
I tried it in 2021 and never looked back.
There you go. There are 20 there from Jose Quintana.
Happy Wednesday, Ortega. Brett, have you ever seen Barbed Wire? Underrated even now. Ghost Empress, while I always bend the knee to your dark arts, does the movie Conclave now make sense to you? Long live PCC.
I did see Barbed Wire when I was very young.
Do you have a take on it?
No.
Okay. What am I to think?
Not a movie for a 10-year-old or however old I was when it came out.
Is Conclave finally making sense? I don't think that movie is ever really going to make sense to me, honestly. The plot twists still ruined it for me.
Gabe in the chat says, "Oh, bangs. Thought you said fangs."
No. Her hair.
So, all right. What final thoughts on Jenna Ortega?
I see a long and fruitful career ahead of her because she doesn't care about other people.
And she's good at politicking.
No hate. Legitimately, I'm not even throwing tomatoes right now. Like, good for you.
So her, Sydney Sweeney, and Glenn Powell seem to be this generation's geniuses at kind of navigating the industry. Now, Glenn Powell, not necessarily about politics, more about branding. He knows who he is and what his draw is to audiences.
But he's like your age, right?
Yes, he is.
So he's been working for a much longer time.
He was in The Dark Knight Rises.
He was in Scream Queens.
He was. Well, I wouldn't know that.
Actually.
Okay. All right. Let us go to Super Chats.
Pop Culture Junkie said, my most embarrassing photo, standing outside my 1979 Honda Prelude, locked out with my keys in the car with it running. Ugh. Station art director trying to open the latch with a coat hanger. The worst. Well, I've been there. But I hadn't had the car running when I locked the keys in. So that sucks.
Yeah. Of course, the sense of accomplishment you probably feel from like unhooking, like manipulating a coat hanger to open a car door must be like tremendous.
Well, you can't do that anymore.
No?
Because it's all electronic now.
Nope.
Greg Duvier said, put a mocha on for cute of the day. She's sick.
Well, she's not with
Raise
us
her
right now.
spirits.
She's at the vet right now.
Adam said, Mary could have used some umbrellas Monday. What does that mean? Well, it was raining.
There you go.
It actually was raining. I walked drunkenly through the rain. It was just adds to the ambiance.
Let's do one more.
Shane H. Wilder said, update black smoke today. Oh.
About the conclave?
Yeah.
So what does that mean?
I suppose that means there was a supermajority.
They've picked?
Wow.
Okay. I need to know. Who is it? Who do you think it is?
Wait, do I have it backwards? Let me just check. Because I thought the black smoke...
Yep, here it is.
Oh, I was wrong. I was wrong. White smoke means that they have elected.
Oh.
Black smoke means they have not elected by a supermajority yet.
Okay. All right.
So
I
would have been really surprised if that were done in hours. Personally,
who is
not expecting it.
Who you're rooting for?
Who am I rooting for? I don't know. Whoever is like the most like Tedesco from the movie. Meaning anyone who's openly conservative, openly very, very strong on pro-life issues, isn't afraid to talk about the church's teaching on human sexuality and marriage and family, and who also pushes back on the Islamization of the West, is willing to be an excellent communicator and not cause more of the confusion that has been spreading in the church and outside of the church for years now. People say that might be Cardinal Sarah or Cardinal Urdo.
Not the pizza guy?
I haven't heard about all the rest
pizza
of them.
guy?
To be honest, I'm not like paying close attention to it. I'm just gonna pray that that's the outcome. I don't know. I haven't like done my homework on these people.
The skits that have been made about like conclave betting have been like fantasy.
So that's
conclave.
like actually happening. Like
Yeah.
People who are
There's like guys where
betting on
like they've got their sheets and they're yelling at a TV as it like lists the.
There are like 150 of them.
Well, I mean the skits aren't listing all 150. They're just listing a couple of them, but it's still kind of. Yes, I'm with someone. Silva in the chat says Pope Culture Crisis.
It is Pope
It
Culture
is a Pope
Crisis.
Culture Crisis.
Did you see that there's a gimmick account called Pope Crave now?
No.
Yeah, crazy.
Really?
I think they got a press pass.
I like.
Insane.
I mean, maybe the church.
Who is behind Pope Crave?
Maybe the church needs to make a Pope Crave account to really reach the youths.
Maybe.
Like, I mean, I would be here for like POV. You're about to go into confession. like they gotta have a social media manager over there at the Vatican,
well,
right?
they do. They just failed to secure that username, unfortunately.
They need to get their hands on it, and they need to start they need to hire like a really, really good young social media manager to really jump on the trends. Like they need their own Mr.
I mean, I bet they do.
They need their own Mr. Beast.
I bet they have social media managers and young ones, but like they're not that interested in.
They're all like Tate.
Because you're the Catholic Church. You don't need to be popular.
Yeah.
You know.
I guess.
You don't need to like market anything.
Like, I'm imagining like videos where they have like different priests send in like get ready with me videos, like Sunday morning fit check.
No, I have seen some priests like posting their vestment fit checks.
I saw your picture or your post that was like, how can you look at these guys and not immediately want to be Catholic? That's like,
yeah.
Like somebody needs to time that to like
look
Sigma
sickening.
grind set music and put them
Seriously,
in 60
yes.
frames a second. They need to do it.
I completely agree.
Do one more super chat.
The last of my kind said, I'd only accept chicken nuggets from Taco Bell if it's a combined KFC location, but yes, not going to Taco Bell for nuggets when a steak quesadilla is right there. Yeah, I mean, but then at that point, you just get the KFC chicken, you know?
Yeah. Makes more sense.
Or is it all fried in the same vat?
Do they have popcorn chicken? I wish they still had popcorn chicken. I love.
They don't?
I love. They didn't the last time I was there. I love popcorn chicken.
They brought back strips at McDonald's.
I saw that too. Not my thing. All right, let's move on.
Yeah, I've said it before. I've said it a million times, and I will say it again. Hollywood has officially run out of ideas. And we've gotten past the point of scraping the bottom of the barrel. We're kind of like scraping the molten core of the earth at this point. Now, what has been announced is not just a spin-off or a sequel, but a sequel trilogy to 1999's 10 Things I Hate About You. Obviously, Heath Ledger is not going to be a part of it. I don't think Julia Stiles will be a part of it either, but that's TBD at the moment.
If I'm being honest, I love the original. So this particular, like you guys know, I love the slop. But I feel like slop makes sense for action movies. Slop makes sense for superhero movies. Slop makes sense for horror movies a little bit. But like romantic comedies, I don't want the slop.
I don't want the Lindsay Lohan Freaky Friday reboot. I don't want any of it. And I didn't really even like 10 Things I Hate About You because it's not my generation.
Yeah. And
people know that. It turned into a whole controversy on the channel. But why do we need to make it into a cinematic universe?
The 10 Things I Hate About Universe. If they don't call it the 10 Things I Hate About Universe, they're stupid.
Well, they're already stupid. We know that for a fact. But there are 3 sequels to 10 Things I Hate About You in development, titled the following: 10 Things I Hate About Dating, 10 Things I Hate About Marriage, and 10 Things I Hate About Kids.
I mean, it's right up Hollywood's alley to be that depressing. Like, the thing is when they made 10 Things I Hate About You, you could still buy into the fact that it's a bit snarky, but there's some genuine emotion behind it.
There's whimsy.
There's whimsy. Yes, that's the word for it. There's whimsy in 10 Things I Hate About You, because one of the themes of that movie is that you take Kat's icy feminist exterior and you break it down, and you break her down until she cares about another person to the point where she cries in the middle of class. It goes from a bit what would be the word for it? So it's like, it's a bit weird in the way that it starts, because it's not really a traditional comedy. At least I don't think of it as a traditional comedy, because it felt more...
I mean, it's a rom-com.
It's a rom-com. Okay, so it goes into this territory where you go on this ride with this person who is very, very solitary, independent, has a plan for their life. She's quick to make a joke at everyone's expense, and you break her down little by little until she cries in class. And that's a pretty important moment. We always laugh about the paintball scene, but I still find that scene to be the almost more impactful, where it's like she would laugh at herself if she saw herself doing what she was doing in that scene, if it was anybody else, right? Do I buy that they're going to be able to draw that much emotion to turn somebody from snarky loner to curious to interested to kind of heartbroken all the way back to interested again? I don't want to see them do that with the concepts of dating or the concepts of marriage, and especially not kids. Like, and as people point out, 10 Things I Hate About You isn't a modern adaptation of Taming the Shrew, so how do you make sequels on something that doesn't have sequel material? You don't.
Well, we'll get into the details. And I'm not a fan of the original. I can still recognize the core of its appeal, the way that you put it. And modern storytelling just reviles any form of vulnerability, and that's why this can't happen.
Okay, so here's the thing. Her snark, like, what's weird about it is, like, her snark in that movie is now exactly what you hate about most characters today. But at that time...
only because there's nothing underneath it these days.
There was whimsy at that time, because for all her snark, she is broken down to her core and made emotional by this person, by this guy.
And she even rekindles a good relationship with her sister.
And in line with her father. Like, again, that's the sad thing. Is the dad going to allow to be overprotective and loving?
Hell no.
Or is he going to be doofy and stupid?
He was a little doofy,
but he's not stupid.
Yeah. So Gil Younger, who directed the original 1999 comedy 10 Things I Hate About You, reveals exclusively to People that a follow-up film titled 10 Things I Hate About Dating is in the works from himself and the original producer Andrew Lazar. The film has not been greenlit yet. Younger, who is currently co-writing the script with Nia L. James, plans to make it the first in a trilogy with 2 more subsequent installments, 10 Things I Hate About Marriage and 10 Things I Hate About Kids. He says 10 Things I Hate About Dating is definitively in the works as a feature film. We're developing it right now. He teases that he and Andrew Lazar have some pretty good ideas. So that's exciting.
Maybe, you know what they're gonna do? They're gonna make 10 Things I Hate About Kids, and it's gonna be Cameron and Bianca, and they're gonna have kids. Because Joseph Gordon-Levitt's still a legit star.
Well, I think they're going to come up with a revival, just totally new cast based on the information here.
Don't do it.
Similarly to how the first film was a modern retelling of Shakespeare's The Taming of the Shrew, 10 Things I Hate About Dating will be inspired by Molière's 1666 play The Misanthrope, as told People by Gil Younger. And although it's unclear how much of the original setting and plot will play a part in the new story, he would love to see some familiar faces in the next iteration, which will be aimed at an audience in their 30s as opposed to the first film's teen audience.
Yeah, her feminism.
So the same people that liked the 1999 one.
Her feminism, like the feminism is going to have to be done so deftly and so artfully.
I would love to work with Julia Stiles again. She shaped the lives of millions of women. That cat character really spoke to young women in a very powerful way.
Eventually, we're going to have to get like a spin-off about the student, the school guidance counselor writing her erotic novel. Tempestuous.
Yikes.
That was Allison Janney.
There's just so much that can't be replicated, and
also the teacher that
shouldn't be.
The teacher that sends to the office. That's Daryl Mitchell, who we talked about yesterday because of the story about disabled actors. Because that actor, after that movie was made, was he's in a wheelchair now, and he's still acting these days.
It sounds like he wants to bring back some members of the original cast. Obviously, you can't bring back Heath Ledger, but he plans on, I guess, giving him some kind of a nod or acknowledgement in the next movie.
He'll have gone back to Australia.
But we're over 25 years on from the original.
Again, they'll have Cameron and Bianca, and Kat won't make an appearance, but maybe for a couple of episodes to come be the aunt.
She's the wine aunt.
Yeah, she's the wine aunt
she brings all
Bianca's
the gifts,
kids.
But she only gives them socks and books.
Yep.
And then on top of the sequel trilogy, what has also been announced in the past month is a 10 Things I Hate About You Broadway musical currently in development, co-written by both Carly Rae Jepsen and Lena Dunham.
Wow, I hate it.
So you've got some real star power.
They can put they can make a whole thing based around the line where I know you can be overwhelmed. That's the question they will ask the audience. I know you can be overwhelmed and that you can be underwhelmed, but can you ever just be whelmed? I think you can in Europe. That's what they'll make the play about.
Look, I mean, I just think it's an insult to the audience at this point. Like, or maybe it's just that there are people like Gil Younger who kind of want to relive their like glory days, you know, and they can't move past it because if you have one big thing in your career that really made you the person you are in your industry, how do you move on from that? Like, maybe he's just trying to rewind and kind of reinvigorate that.
Yeah.
But it's not possible.
Yeah, and nothing else that he's made ever really reached that level of success.
No.
So I don't have any interest in this. Again, like I said, you want to remake Jurassic Park with Scarlett Johansson? Sure. I'll watch the slop. I'll watch Scarlett Johansson battle dinosaurs. I'll watch a new Superman. I will watch a new action movie based on the previous IP, but taking something that had a fair amount of cultural relevance for a whole generation of people, it kind of rang true for, and again, that at that time, feminist characters were a lot easier to do because there was a lot less public dislike for the idea of feminism. It was still seen as something niche. Like the idea at that time period in like 1999 was like, yeah, of course, every school's got the feminist who quotes Sylvia Plath and
an archetype
and goes to the records. She goes to the record store. She doesn't have CDs. She goes to get vinyl, right? That was an archetype of that age. Nowadays, there is no whimsy and there is no love loss for any type of feminism.
Yeah,
so doing it now.
Who is the quirky girl these days? If they're all like Kat
they're gonna have to get Sydney Sweeney to play Kat. That's the only thing. That's their only choice. Julia Stiles grew up to look like Sydney Sweeney, and then somehow only 10 years have gone by and not 30 or 20.
I don't think so. I don't
Sydney
think
Sweeney
doable.
as
Look,
Kat. No, well, you know who they're going to get? Zendaya. We're going to get Zendaya or Jenna Ortega. Okay, so that's what's going to be. Zendaya is going to play Kat, and Jenna Ortega is going to play Bianca.
Great.
It's going to be great.
I'm so excited.
It's going to be awesome.
The reasons that I disliked the original were maybe just my own personal gripes, like my own hangups. First of all, I think that Julia Stiles' character kind of indoctrinated a lot of young women to think that if you are relentlessly bitchy to a guy that you're interested in, that eventually he will
break
just
down his barrier, his wall, and he will let you in somehow.
In real life, like, a little bit of push and pull is a different story than just being a bitch. And then on top of that, it was weird to me that they portrayed her as being like universally hated at her school to the point where no guy would date her even for a bribe. The truth is, if she's hot and a weird person with like personality quirks and flaws, and she's kind of rude, if she's hot, like, I guarantee you the guys at her high school do not care and they would date her anyway.
Yep.
So, I mean, you could say she wasn't interested, but I don't know. The way that they wrote that into the story was confusing to me.
Look, from what I remember, that movie shot on no sound stages. It was all filmed on location. That would be impressive.
Cool.
Film the whole thing in the real world.
Yeah, I don't know if they're capable of that these days either.
We'll have to wait and see. But I don't think anybody was actually asking for the 10 things I hate about Universe.
No.
All right.
Red Snow said, was Game of Thrones incest out of pocket? I never watched Game of Thrones.
I had no
so
interest
I don't
in it.
know.
I had no interest in it.
I think literally any incest is out of pocket.
But I don't have any interest in watching any sex scene. I fast forward through all of them.
Yeah.
It's never done in a way that actually benefits the scene. Like the show. It just slows everything down.
There's a lot of that in House of the Dragon from what I heard as well, but I also haven't watched it. Literally any amount of incest is too much for me. I draw the line at any of it. So, no thank you.
I changed my mind. I think that they're going to go with Zendaya as Kat and Rachel Zegler as Bianca.
Perfect.
That's what they're going to do!
Well, you know, Rachel Zegler could play a cat easily.
And,
don't you think?
No, I think she's closer in phenotype to
Bianca.
To Bianca. And then their mom will be played by Brie Larson.
Well, who is I feel like Jennifer Lawrence was a Julia Stiles phenotype of her own time, of the 2010s.
I suppose so.
Am I wrong?
Rounder face.
The Eurasian eyes.
Yeah. I'm telling you, and then
who is it now?
And then they'll have Brie Larson as their mom. It'll make no sense, but that's what they'll do.
But I thought their mom was dead.
Yeah, they're not going to have the dad. They're going to have the mom, not the dad.
But their dad.
This time the dad is dead.
Their dad is an OBGYN, right?
Was the dad dead or did the mom leave them?
Wait, what? Their dad was in the movie.
No, or was the mom dead or did the mom leave the family? I forget. It's been so long. It's been a long time since I've seen it.
Remember now.
Somebody was the mom dead in 10 Things I Hate About You,
But
or was the mom? Did the mom leave the family?
Their dad is an OBGYN, and he's like really paranoid about
That she's gonna get
birth
pregnant. Well, that she's gonna get pregnant.
or whatever, and like he's always telling them gross facts about birth and pregnancy to scare them out of having sex. But I don't know. Was there like a plot line where their mom died in childbirth or something?
Nope, they're saying the mom left.
Okay, was she in the movie? Even?
No, another person says mom was dead. I'm gonna rewatch it tonight.
I don't know.
I don't know if Olivia's seen it. I'll have to see if she's seen it before. We'll watch it tonight.
It's so bad.
Olivia,
if you're watching.
Look, she's lying. It's amazing.
Save your time. Seth Essington said, I saw a Timcast ad on a billboard today while driving to work this morning. It was cool seeing Tim's face on an I-465 billboard. Is that in Pennsylvania or...
We saw when we were going back to Michigan. We were in Pennsylvania. We drove through Pennsylvania and saw 2 Timcast ads.
So there are a lot of them.
Yeah, there was multiple.
Interesting. Red Snow said, I think Corpse Fat deserves a guitar solo.
Corpse Fat does sound like a band name.
Yeah. Red Snow said, this chat now believes in Joe Hendry, if not, fight me.
Pro wrestler.
Believes in? What does that mean?
It's a catchphrase.
Were there any other
Yes.
rants?
High Voltage 37 says, I hope they pick Pizza Ball just because of the name for Pope.
Pizza Bella.
Yep.
It's extremely Italian. Adam said, we need a POV of Mary's adventure on Monday. Chicken jockey, chicken jockey, chicken jockey. I mean, I would, but I don't really, like, want that to be immortalized and, like, define me as a person.
Yeah.
It was one of my lower moments in life, I would say. You know?
It's
then
okay.
you just kind of have to make the best of it.
The thing is like, if that's the worst, like if you went on Call Her Daddy, they'd been like, what? That's the worst thing? That's a low point? That's like a Wednesday for me.
You know what? That's right. Yep. You know, that's something to be proud of. Gordon Shumway said, you guys keep talking about the slippery slope of Clueless. Don't forget she was only 15. In actuality, the slippery slope started in Star Wars when Luke kissed his twin sister.
Yeah.
He did?
Yeah.
Wait, what? You're kidding.
Also, with
I literally watched it. I don't remember that happening.
What were we just talking? With Clueless, it was just they were also not like stepbrother and sister anymore. Right?
Wait, what?
They were not
No, yeah, they weren't even step siblings anymore because their parents got divorced. So that was different. Also, she is 15 in the movie, but close to 16, and isn't he like 18?
I don't know if his age is ever mentioned.
He's a college freshman.
He's back from college. Wasn't he back from college from his first year at college?
Wasn't it his first semester?
Was he on his way to college? Because that changes everything.
No, it was his first semester, wasn't it? So he's halfway through freshman year at college. Yeah. Look, in real life, nobody cares about this stuff. I honestly don't think that it's like... And is that like a crazy take that I think it's fine for like an 18-year-old and a 15-year-old to date?
You should put we'll put a poll
way
up
out of pocket.
We'll put a poll up. Put a poll up on X and
it depends, obviously, like on the situation, but I really don't see why that's a big deal.
You should put a poll up on X and see what they say.
I have no recollection of Luke and Leia kissing. It was in The Empire Strikes Back. That's crazy. Okay. What? I totally blocked this out of my memory. Like, I didn't know this was part of the plot. That's weird.
And as for, like, Game of Thrones in reference earlier, like, anything like that, the reason I fell off Game of Thrones is because all of those scenes always felt gratuitous and, like, it was, like, a studio. I understand that it's in the books and everything like that, but it's, like, the reason that the studios love to pick books like that is because they want scenes like that in the shows.
Right, yeah. Shane H. Wilder said, honestly, Mary, the short is all in good fun, although I did put you in a pink sombrero with a mark. It was worse than just sombreros, though. They were handing out these little headbands with a tiny sombrero glued on it. So you had like a tiny sombrero on the side of your head. I should have gotten one just to remember the moment.
That would have been right at home at the Met Gala.
Yeah, actually, now that I think of it. I should have just gone straight to the Met Gala. Ulvin McGoth said pierogies.
No.
Subliminal messaging now.
No.
If we just say the word pierogies enough, Brett's gonna eat one. Shane H. Wilder said, Pizza Bella said we need to get rid of these bundle of sticks rings. Based. I already slow-mode the Cardinal video to The Boys Are Back in Town. We need
it needs Sigma Grindset music.
What's the Sigma Grindset song they always play over the Andrew Tate videos?
I don't even know. Like, you just go look up the Andrew Tate song. I bet you it comes up.
Sigma Grindset slowed plus reverb. Shane H. Wilder said, sequels to a movie based on Taming of the Shrew is so asinine, it's all much ado about nothing. But well, they're basing it off of The Misanthrope now, which I have not read. I don't know anything about it.
Wait, is this the song?
So it's not connected at all.
Is this the song?
What?
No, that's not the song. I was trying to find the Andrew Tate song.
But
that sounds like an actual song.
But we're gonna get copyrights.
Yeah,
if we play.
Oh yeah, I
Sigma
got copyrighted
theme.
that one time when we played
it sounded familiar.
Yeah,
I'm not sure. Greg Duvier said, "Now I have 10 things why I hate Hollywood."
Well, there's plenty.
There's more than 10.
There's plenty of reasons to hate Hollywood. Yeah. That's for sure.
That's kind of what this show is. It's just every day a new reason to hate Hollywood. P. Tran said, "Will you watch The Gardener with Van Damme?" I haven't heard of this. This is a movie?
I don't know. Probably not.
The Gardener? Never heard of it?
No.
Okay. Explain. Shane H. Wilder said, we insist that Hollywood quit all the incest. They won't, though. It's weird. They kind of don't care what we want at this point. It's like we're in this hostage situation with them. We don't have any other alternatives most of the time. Red Snow said, I believe in Joe Hendry. Joe Hendry's so prestigious.
Again, I'm not watching wrestling as current, but I know Joe Hendry is a wrestler.
Is this like his slogan or something?
I'm looking for The Gardener.
The Gardener with Van Damme, it says.
Netflix?
I don't know. Aaron Swain said it was before Lucas decided that Luke and Leia were siblings, aged like milk. Oh, okay. I didn't know that he like hadn't really set out this whole story ahead of time. He was just kind of making it up as he went along, but
not on Netflix. Okay.
All right. That's a good excuse.
Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Amazon Prime.
Looks, I mean, I can't tell here. It says, Serge holds a state secret. He and his family are Wait, was Van Damme the one who just got in deep trouble for, like, accepting, like, sexual favors from, like... who am I thinking of here? Hold on.
Accepting favors from who?
Like, from, like, trafficked women.
Oh. Oh. Okay.
Am I thinking of someone else? I don't want to...
We're not going to get sued
for
this.
this. I don't know who that was. Or was that somebody else?
I don't know. I didn't see headlines about that. Pop Culture Junkie said, films like 10 Things are of their time, lightning in a bottle movies. Not sure it's updatable to work in 2026.
I was right.
Oh, it is him.
Yep.
So what does it say?
Jean-Claude Van Damme accused of having sexual relations with trafficked Romanian women. This was a month ago.
Oh. So he has a new movie.
Is that why they were asking, like, are you going to watch it because of these accusations?
I don't know. That's creepy, though.
Yeah.
I feel like because all young women turned into Cat, there's no...
It's not unique. There's no the version of it now would be a normal, like a normal, not feminist woman.
Well, that's why I said, like, you'd have to make Kat a trad wife.
Yeah.
Or, like, some kind of something like that. Because that would make her idiosyncratic. Nowadays, it's, like, just the mainstream thing to be is a total misandrist who hates men.
I mean, like... back to the Jean-Claude Van Damme thing. Like, I mean, he's just not what I think of when I think of, like, the aging action star. You know, Keanu Reeves can still get away with it. I don't know if I'm going to go watch a Jean-Claude Van Damme movie no matter what is going on.
Keanu Reeves is only, like, What?
He's in his
like
50s.
55 or something?
Yeah, but he's doing most of his own stunts.
Red Snow said, still believing in Joe Hendry, the prestigious one.
Ben canceled. Is Jean-Claude Van Damme 64? Or is Keanu Reeves is like in his 50s, I thought.
I don't know. AI Shih Tzu said, big
60.
ups to Keanu Reeves. Is 60? Okay.
Yep.
Well, he looks good. Maybe it's the beard.
It's the beard.
No, it's not maybe the beard. It's definitely the beard.
No, it is because like
Yeah.
he shaved it for Bill and Ted.
Yeah.
And he looked twice his age.
Yeah.
Or like twice as old as he normally does.
See, that's makeup for men.
Otherwise,
the
well, yeah,
beard.
it is. It is. Men have
More effective, actually, than makeup.
as I've said to Mary multiple times,
More
I've,
like Botox for men.
there have been times where I've shaved myself like cleanly shaven, and the second I do it, I immediately regret it. It's the worst thing I can possibly do.
You let the brain worms get to you, and it convinces you
It's
to do
exactly
it.
what happens.
In the middle of the night.
Unironically, yes. That's exactly what happens.
AI Shih Tzu said, big ups to PCC for keeping me company on these extra duty shifts. Bought a new Ninja with the surplus today. We'll add your logo to the wrap room.
Okay.
Well, thanks for the free advertising. That's awesome.
Do you listen to us while you're on the bike?
We don't even have to sponsor a NASCAR driver to get the wrap. That's awesome. Red Snow said, also, can someone go grab me a pack of smokes? Me? I'm not going to do it.
Don't do it.
Omega Red Fan said, blackmail IRL for Van Damme? That's crazy.
I mean, I don't know if it's blackmail or like what do you blackmail Jean-Claude Van Damme for? So that he can make more of those commercials where he does the splits between the two Volvo semis?
Is there evidence to the claim or like?
Let's see what it says. So it says
Sounds like something that would happen in Romania.
a criminal complaint was filed with the Romanian Directorate for Investigating, or DICOT.
Yeah.
I'm not going to read that whole thing. DICOT against the Street Fighter star, age 64, alleging that he knowingly engaged in sexual relations with women trafficked by a criminal group led by Morel Balea. Is he related to Terry Balea? The incident allegedly took place in Cannes, where the actor is accused of having received 5 Romanian women as a gift with prior knowledge that they came from a group of traffickers, according to the complaint. According to the attorney who represents one of the victims, told the outlet that the women were in a state of vulnerability with the suspicion that they were exploited within the meaning of Article 182 of the Criminal Code. His representatives and DICOT did not immediately respond to people's request for comment. I'm sure that he was right on his way.
They have higher priorities, I think.
One of the women who witnessed the incident, which reportedly occurred at an event organized by Van Damme in Cannes, shared that she saw what she saw with prosecutors, according to Antenna 3 at CNN. They prompted the DICOT to open an investigation. Quote, several Romanians who are currently being investigated for forming a criminal group and pimping allegedly offered Van Damme 5 Romanian women, photo models in Romania, for him to have sexual relations with. The person who received those benefits knew their conditions, so they're saying that he knew.
So why can't you just do it the Harvey Weinstein way? It can. Harvey was just consensually hooking up with just about every
I don't know.
up-and-coming actress in
think
Hollywood.
He owns a movie studio, so he can't really run that line.
Yeah, what the heck?
Yeah.
Not to make light of it or anything. That's obviously not my intention.
Why is all this stuff always happening in Romania? That's the other thing.
Because they're corrupt. Yeah. That's why. That's kind of disturbing.
Yep.
Shane H. Wilder said, rewatching Psych and got to the musical episode. What is with all the shows of that era having musical episodes? Buffy, Scrubs, Fringe, 30 Rock.
I was never look. It's there.
I tried to block out
there
the 30
are
Rock
nerds.
one.
Okay, there are nerds. So Fringe, it never made sense to me, given that it just didn't fit the tone of Fringe. Psych, it kind of makes sense to me. Buffy, I know that Giles was that dude, Anthony Head or whatever his name is, was like a singer anyway. So I'm sure that any chance he could get to go out and sing, he took.
That's so annoying.
Yeah.
It's the theater kids in Hollywood jumping out, you know?
Yeah.
They have to be ostracized. We can't let them win.
Oh, and yeah, it did not happen in Romania. It happened in France.
Yeah,
but-
at the Cannes Film Festival.
Correct.
I'm sure there's a lot of sordid stuff going on at the Cannes Film Festival every year.
Yep.
That we don't hear about.
That's the movie you'll never see get made.
No.
The movie about what happens at Cannes.
No.
Yeah.
What happens at Cannes usually stays at Cannes.
Yeah. So.
It's like summer camp for them. Do we have any more Rumble rants? Or
No,
are
I'm going through over here to look
all
at them.
caught up?
We are all caught up.
All right.
All right.
We just
So-
have the next 15 minutes to hang out, I guess.
Warehouse 13 did have a bad musical episode. Yes, and I loved
Oh.
it because Warehouse 13 is amazing.
We are like less than $5 away from our second crisis party. Just thought I would throw that out there.
And since I can,
I also want to check our Rumble
Yep.
count. Because we're trying to get past 1,000 followers on Rumble. That's our first milestone.
yep, we are at 541.
It's not enough.
Yeah, come on, guys.
Give us more clout.
I have a feeling that it would. I know YouTube doesn't like Rumble links.
Why don't they? I'm pretty sure someone in the super chats told us that they tried to super chat with the word Rumble in it, and it was not allowed to send.
Yeah.
Like they weren't allowed to send a super chat with the word Rumble in it. So they are shadow banning that.
Yep.
Um,
Adam says, "How I Met Your Mother" or Friends? Neither. Neither.
I never watched How I Met Your Mother though,
Neither.
so I'm not able to say. But Friends also isn't good. Like they had the most weird, perverted storylines. Every time that I'm in a hotel room and there's nothing on to watch, I have to turn on Friends.
Wait,
and then
why?
there's just because like I need to watch cable television if I'm in a hotel room. I don't
It's just
know.
part. I mean, you're
It's
not
part
like
of my ritual.
You're not smart like me in bringing the Roku with you.
Right? Yeah. No. I don't have a Roku, but even if I did, I wouldn't bring it with me places because I'm not insane.
Look, I posted when we were going out of town, like, what was that, 2 weeks ago? I posted about it. Multiple people were like, I do that too. Have your travel
I guess
Roku.
you're all just unashamed
Nope.
of needing constant entertainment.
Yep.
But part of my hotel ritual is watching normal TV and like enjoying the commercials. And
I mean,
if there's Impractical Jokers on, I'm definitely tuning in.
or
But
Law and Order SVU.
maybe like a TV movie or Seinfeld or Friends or The Office or something like that.
I mean, so it's always like there's always a Spider-Man movie on whenever I'm at a hotel. Like there's Spider-Man 1, 2, or The Amazing Spider-Man 1 and 2 are usually on at a hotel whenever I get there. $10 super chat here from Garrett Lancaster says Crisis Party. Yes.
Thank you for the crisis party. It looks like our meter is all messed up.
It'll fix whenever the next super chat comes in.
That's weird.
Or yes, the next super chat comes in.
Red Snow said, thoughts on The Cell, maybe 5 or 6 out of 10. What's The Cell?
I don't see it.
It's a super chat from Red Snow talking about something called The Cell.
No, didn't see it.
I have never heard of it. Yurishima Otaru said, How I Met Your Mother's last few seasons were crap.
Thank you.
I don't know. I didn't watch any of them. Thank you.
Hold, please.
Adam said, The Office? What's the question?
Yeah.
Yeah, I enjoy The Office. I actually do. It's not one of my favorite shows of all time, but like, if I'm in a hotel room, yes, I'm going to be watching The Office and ordering a Caesar salad with French fries.
There we go.
Okay. Impolite. Shane H. Wilder said it was me, and no, you can say the R word or the other R word, which is tarded and gay. Wait, what was you?
I have
so
no idea
confused.
what he's talking about.
Alvin McGoth said Rumble can't be capitalized to go in super chats.
Oh, okay.
I see. Sinister move from YouTube's part. The randomness of Angela said, I followed on Rumble under this name. Love you guys. Thank you for the follow.
Make
Much
sure
appreciated.
it's the check mark one. The one.
Make
with the
sure
green
it's
check.
not the imposter, the catfish. Someone is actually catfishing as us. Have you had anyone catfish as you? Like on anything? Because I have.
I bet. Yeah.
I think I told you about it at the time. It was somebody catfishing. Actually, I'm sure it's happened multiple times, but the one I remember is someone catfishing as me with a link to an OnlyFans account. I'm not lying. And I have no idea what was on the OnlyFans account, but I feel like it's like AI or something.
It's just some other person or fake.
It was another person. Like, it was a link to an OnlyFans for like someone else. Like, it wasn't me, but they were using my profile picture and my like screen name and then linking to this OnlyFans, and it's not like, it's obviously not mine, but it's not even pretending to be mine. It's just a random OnlyFans account.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Luckily, as a guy, I'll never have to worry about that.
Super creepy,
Yeah.
but I did get that account deleted. Arsenal Man said every season of How I Met Your Mother was Gar?
Garbage.
Oh, Gar. Wait for it. Bitch. Got it.
I didn't see The Cell with Jennifer Lopez, Vince Vaughn, Vincent D'Onofrio.
Red
Good
Snow.
cast.
The Cell was
Marianne.
a 2K Jennifer Lopez movie.
That's like right up my alley. I'm gonna have to see if it's on any of the streaming services and
Isn't
watch
she
it.
like not a good actor?
She's not great.
Am I just
She's not great.
making assumptions
That's
based
okay.
on her appearance, or
I remember.
she's never been good at singing either. Like, she's never had any actual talent. She was just marketable.
That's okay.
And she was with Ben Affleck, and that was marketable. But other than that, like, she's kind of just not anything special.
I've seen, like, it's so funny because, like, somebody, when I posted my link to, like, all of the, like, a bunch of TV shows that I said people should watch, they're like, is this all you do? And I'm like, there's 10,000 million things I've never seen
Most things.
Most things.
And
That's why I was
most
like,
things you'll never live to see.
and I've never cared. Like, that's fine. Like, the point I was saying was, like, FOMO is all Hollywood has now, but I don't even have FOMO for the old stuff.
Carnell said, Mary, with Jenna Ortega on the docket today, do you think that Zoomers will be interested in her upcoming film, Hurry Up Tomorrow? I'm feeling Brett will call it pretentious slop. Trailer reaction. Well, we can't really do a trailer reaction because then we would need to cut it out of the show after getting a copyright claim on it. So that's a whole headache that we're not really going to get into. But I just looked it up. It says it's supposed to be a musical psychological thriller film directed by Trey Edward Schultz, starring The Weeknd, yikes, as a fictionalized version of himself. Didn't they already do this with The Idol?
Yes.
An insomniac musician on the verge of a mental breakdown who is pulled into an existential odyssey by a mysterious stranger. Jenna Ortega and Barry Keoghan also star in the film. This is a companion piece to The Weeknd's sixth studio album of the same name, which was produced in conjunction with the film.
Barry Keoghan is just out here getting all
Wow.
of Ezra Miller's roles that he would have gotten had he still not screwed up his career.
This sounds like shit, honestly. What do you think?
I have no interest in seeing it.
It's a companion piece to The Weeknd album. I don't care. I don't care.
Adam asked, have you guys watched Selfie? That's the one with Karen. No, I don't watch. Like, just because I like 10 Things I Hate About You does not mean I watch romantic comedies or anything romance related.
Selfie is a rom-com?
It was like a romantic. It was like Karen Gillan and John Cho.
Yeah, this does. I mean, I don't know what Brett thinks, but to me, this sounds like pretentious art slop, and it sounds like a reheated Nachos version of The Idol. And I don't like The Weeknd. I mean, he's a good singer, but I don't listen to his music. He's really annoying. And every scene that I saw of him in The Idol was abysmal.
I do like his music, or at least some of his music, but have no desire to watch him as an actor.
Yeah, both him and Lily Rose Depp in that show. Just turbo cringe. Pop Culture Junkie said, not all theater kids are bad, was one in high school, lighting designer, and that makes so much sense for you, and community theater because drunken cast parties are a great place to meet women.
Okay.
Sounds like it. Yeah, because you're going to be one of the only actual straight guys there.
Yeah.
So then it's kind of like yours for the taking at that point, you know? It's like a buffet of available women.
They're like, holy crap, he's straight.
Yeah, I know. It's like shocking in those circles, I'm sure. Yeah, and Adam asked about Selfie. Shane H. Wilder said, also, Brett, how can you like Pretty Little Liars and not give Scream Queens a chance? For shame.
Sober.
Are
now.
they similar?
No, I don't. I mean, I remember I only saw like half of that episode. I guess. There was.
Okay.
I mean, Pretty Little Liars is basically like a murder mystery, like a weird murder
So is
mystery.
Scream Queens.
I don't know. It's a
So
different time.
you think it's because you're sober now
Yeah,
that you're
probably.
not able to get through Scream Queens?
Yeah.
Scream Queens, but you were able to watch Pretty Little Liars because you weren't sober.
Yeah, pretty much. Back
So
in the
how
day.
much of it do you really even remember?
A lot of it.
Can you give us a spoiler?
No. Like, what do you mean? Like,
Who is A?
well, no, I'm not gonna mess up who A is. Plus, it changes as the.
Oh, they changed
yeah.
their minds?
Yeah, yeah.
Well, that's some bullshit.
Yeah. There's A. There's an A reveal and then not an A reveal.
It really pissed me off when I was watching Gossip Girl because they hadn't even decided who Gossip Girl was until very late in the game.
I didn't even know that was a thing. Like, so there's actually a.
There
person.
is a Gossip Girl.
Oh, okay.
There is. It's basically the same thing, but Gossip Girl runs a blog and tells everyone secrets. And there were a couple of obvious options for who it could have been, and then they just chose the dumbest possible explanation because they wanted to rug pull us.
Yeah.
So
That was what they did on The Mentalist when they didn't know how to. They wrote themselves into a corner on who was going to be Red John, and then the showrunner just decided to pick the most well-known actor from like episode 2. Because he wrote himself into a corner by saying, like, yes, we saw him in the first couple of episodes. And then they're like, crap, who's it going to be?
It didn't make sense because, okay, you can probably guess that Gossip Girl isn't even a girl. It's a guy. But he was talking shit about himself in the blog.
Yeah.
And his own family members as well, which just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Whatever. Red Snow said,
I see JB Spooky Reviews in the chat. While I've got you here, my friend, I have to make a formal request of you. I did just watch the Kill Switch X-Files analysis. It was fantastic. I'm going to formally request that at some point you give us a review for the 1998 X-Files movie. That is my formal request that I'm making of you. Thank you.
And you get to have it because you're famous.
I want a review of the 1998 X-Files movie. I love that movie.
Red Snow said, do you like tacos or just Taco Bell? I honestly don't get tacos at Taco Bell.
I love both tacos and Taco Bell.
I mean, they're fine. Like, I don't dislike tacos. There are just better ways to eat Taco Bell than tacos.
My mind is kind of blown that there was like an actual Gossip Girl.
Obviously, it's a gossip blog, and no one knows who it is.
He says the movie review will come when season 5 is finished. Let's go! Let's go!
This is a W for Brett.
This is a huge W
Common
right now.
Brett W. Yurishima Otaru said J-Lo made it big as a dancer. She's good at business. Yeah, I mean, she kind of monetized herself with all the other stuff.
Yeah.
Everyone knows she's not a good singer and she's not a good actress, though. Greg Duvier said Leia was not officially Luke's sister when New Hope was written. So when was that decided? I don't know. I think that George Lucas has plausible deniability. Pop Culture Junkie said, Mary, you're so right, was my favorite summer. Yeah. Just go to... Here's a great piece of dating advice. Just insert yourself into some sort of social circle where all the men are gay, and then you will have your pick of the litter when it comes to women, because you're going to be their only option.
Is that
So,
right? Is it
become a theater kid, I guess.
650 people watching on Rumble? Let's go.
Hi, Rumble people.
Hello.
Wow.
What's going on? As we talk about Pretty Little Liars and Scream Queens and
I didn't know that like Rumble really had an audience for that, because you know, Rumble is super political.
Yeah.
Most of the streamers are political.
Yep.
We don't really get into the weeds with that stuff, but I'm glad that
No,
they're
we
here.
have to talk about Hollywood's weird obsession with insisting on stuff.
Well, that's not political.
No, it's worse.
Yeah,
worse.
that's actually worse.
It's
than
actually
talking
way
about...
worse. I'd probably rather talk about fiscal policy than about their fistal policy over at Hollywood. I hate it.
Didn't ever want to hear that turn of phrase. Not that John Stewart said, have you seen Wick is Pain trailer? It looks like something that would be a behind-the-scenes feature.
Yeah, and they just announced John Wick 5. They're like, we're going to continue the story. I'm like, what? What? Like, I get it. Like, you've got your franchises now, and they're going to spin it off into the ballerina, which I'm mildly excited to see, but I kind of keep forgetting that it exists because of all the other movies that are coming out right now. But John Wick is as important as the John Wick character is. I feel like the money is in the style of the films. The style of action. So it actually probably is better placed than a lot of franchises to spin off because it's less about his character and more about the style of action, because the movies got so progressively ridiculous as they went on that it's no longer just John murdering a bunch of Russian gangsters in a bathhouse. It's throwing axes and killing people with horses and all sorts of stuff.
Shane H. Wilder said Brett just can't get enough winning.
Yeah, that's true. John Wick faces the Conclave. I mean, is that the high table? Does the high table in the John Wick franchise have their own Conclave? I don't know. I don't know how that works for them.
I think we're all caught up now.
All right.
Do we have any Rumble rants?
I believe we are all caught up with everything. Let me just double check here and make sure we are still getting used to everything here. All right, guys.
So many people on Rumble.
Yep. All right.
Well, why aren't they all following us is my question.
Yes, there's 600 people watching.
There are more live concurrents on Rumble right now than followers, and I'm not happy about it. So you better follow right now.
Yep. All right. Guys, before we go, hit the like button on this video. Subscribe to the channel if you are new here, whether it be on YouTube or on Rumble. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you have not subscribed here yet already. Please and thank you. Mary, where can they find you?
You can send me validation on Instagram at Mary Archived, or you can send me hate on X. That is also Mary Archived.
Perfect. Guys, if you want to follow me, I am on Instagram and Twix at Brett Dasovic on both of those platforms. If you watch the show, we are 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is noon Pacific. We are on Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, Pandora, and Spotify if you'd like to listen rather than watch. And if you want to follow the show on social media, or on Twix at popculture_show, Facebook at Pop Culture Crisis, Instagram at Pop Culture Crisis Pod. Mary, we got a couple more there.
Pete Donovan said, Brett, who was your favorite Boston legal character?
Denny Crane.
Reds, do you have a reason?
No reason.
Okay. Red Snow said, last thing I gotta say is ARP.
And one more from Shane.
I don't know what that means. Shane H. Wilder said, I will switch when rants count to crisis parties. Yeah, it's more of an if than a when situation. I'm pretty sure it's not achievable
right now,
based on what we've heard, but hopefully we can cross our fingers eventually down the line.
With all of that being said, ladies and gentlemen, we will be back with another episode tomorrow. We'll see y'all then.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.